is Nancy Goodman Lee. And when I was in the Peace Corps, I was Nancy Goodman. I was in Peru, and I was in from 1963 to 1965, starting February. Supposed to be urban community development. I ended up going up into the mountains near Huaraz, in an area, the Callejón de Huaylas, in a little town called Vicos. It wasn't even a town, it was a community, una comunidad. So much had changed because a few years after I returned from the Peace Corps, this was the main problem. There was a huge part of Huascara. I was right at the base of the second highest mountain in the Americas. I think that's what it is, Huascarán. And part of it broke off and sent a flood and a big mudslide happening throughout that entire area. I think it was 300,000 people that lost their lives or were affected greatly. And so even my walk to school every day was totally different. I mean, physically, everything had changed. And fortunately, most of the people that I knew were still okay, but everybody was very affected, and many, many people lost their lives. The teachers that I had taught with, that were a big part of my life. How that was, I taught in a school that was away from the community, but we all lived together in an hacienda. And so those teachers became my family. And we all ate together at night. Their school was right there, and I walked to my school every day and back. And unfortunately, when I went back to visit 20 years later, I didn't get to see any of those teachers. But the main people that I do want to see, Marcella and her family, were still there. And her sister's son, who I remember, was now 25. It was pretty amazing. I don't know if that's a good thing to do or not. It changes. Things had changed a lot. My memory of my walk to school, for instance, of the little kids standing on the rocks, waving to me every day, running up to me, giving me eggs, is a beautiful memory, of course. And when I went back, those were years that climbers had gone into the area, and now kids would run up to you and ask for money or sweets. And one kid, when we didn't give him any money, started throwing things at us. They also had run out of water. When I had been there in the Peace Corps, they all shared their acequia. The water would go down its course, and everybody had enough. Now the population had grown so that the little farms were divided into smaller farms, and they had gone as high as they could go, and the land wouldn't support them anymore. They had run out of land, they had run out of water, they did have electricity. One little wire it made a difference, whether it was good or bad. I think it's much more important to have water than electricity. Now, of course, going back, who knows? Clearly they all have their television. Clearly they all have their cell phones. And that's how she could call me. Progress happens everywhere. And we've all seen the sadness it can bring and the good things. And we try to learn not to hang on to things. This is the lesson, of course, I'm dealing with now. We all ultimately deal with not hanging on to life. And I'd love to hang on to the beautiful memories. So I'm really glad you're doing this.